Welcome everyone to Friday's Inspiration, TGIF. I hope you had a great holiday with your family, however that turned out. It was very different this year, wasn't it? So today I have something really great. Hey Debbie, thanks for joining us. And Roma, I have something really exciting to share today. It seems very apropos for everything that's going on. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the 5 stages of leaving the global cult. So I personally have a lot of experience with cults. I was born and raised in a religious cult as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And when I left around the age of 38, I started a support group for former Jehovah's Witnesses. And I ran that group every month for 9 years. So I know how cults work, and they primarily operate by controlling their members or the people that are part of the cult or the people that they're governing, the people that they're lording it over. They usually use some main elements. And so that would be the element of fear. And fear, guilt, and shame are the general energies that a cult will use to try to control their members. And so as you look out into the world, I have been referring to this oppressive influence that's on the planet as this 1% energy. Now, it's not a literal number, it's an energy, and we can all feel the oppression. It's caused people globally to be in lockdown, to be wearing masks, to have massive amounts of fear. Suicides are at an all-time high, on and on and on. So we can obviously see all the results of what this cult is doing. And it's all part of this great awakening that's happening. You know, we've been talking about that for a long time, this great awakening, the reset. And so we can obviously feel that we're in very tumultuous times, very transitional times. And we're all going through it, whether we believe it or not, whether we like it or not, it's happening. So this transition of moving out and away from all of these darker, lower vibrating energies that cannot hold the weight of these higher vibrations that the whole planet, the whole universe, all of the global consciousness is moving into. Well, we're already actually there. We're more consciously moving into this golden age. And everything that's not aligned with that must fall away. So it doesn't matter if we believe it or not, it's still happening. So, just because you don't believe in gravity doesn't mean that if you jump off a building, you're not going to be very familiar with what gravity's all about. So, the reason that I wanted to share this is because we are at such a pivotal point. And maybe you could put in the chat, maybe what you're experiencing along these lines of feeling like you're in this cult. Are you among the majority that are afraid and are angry about what you see going on, but then feeling at a loss, or maybe not even sure which direction to turn? So we're going to do a clearing after I go through these 5 points, because those of you who are wanting to accelerate your journey a little bit, or maybe move through all of this with more ease and grace, you'll be able to do that with this energy clearing that we're going to do. So the 5 stages. So the first stage is doubt. Like, you begin to doubt the path you're on. You maybe have been going in a certain direction. I'm glad you feel confident, Crystal. That's no doubt because you've been using the infinity system, right? To stay grounded and clear all the stuff that we're about to clear. But the first stage is doubt. Like, you might start to question what you've been thinking, what path you're on. Things like just might start to not make sense. Like, if you're not on the side yet where you're looking out and you go, something's just not right. I don't understand how, so many people around the world can be wearing masks and doing all this if it weren't true. So, but you start to question. It's like it doesn't make sense. You see everything that's going on, but then you start adding up things and they don't add up. It just doesn't make sense when you start doing your research. And that's what a lot of this is sort of instigated on, is maybe you start listening to different news outsources or start gathering your information from different places. And you start listening to whistleblowers and people who are sharing their personal experiences, and they have no agenda. And then, you start to question things. So that's the first stage, and all of these 5 stages, they can kind of interweave and go back and forth, but these are the 5 main stages that you'll go through as you're in this process of awakening. So the second stage is fear. So you start to question things, but then like that makes your whole world start to feel unstable. Like if that's not true, then what is true? And then all of a sudden your foundation starts to fall away. And it feels like you're starting to free fall. And that takes a lot of courage, letting go and free falling and trusting that you're going to be held and that you're going to be okay. So this fear is, it can be seen in everything. It can be seen in our fear of the future, fear of our own power, fear of the unknown, fear of each other. Everybody's afraid of, being out in public. So there's all these fears that are coming up. So that is another one of the stages that you start to go through as this starts to happen. And then you'll start to go into a stage of being very angry at what you see going on, and usually the anger is on top of those fears. So we don't know, we've not been trained on how to have permission to have our fears or even identify them, let alone like being okay with being afraid. And so this is where the anger will come on top of those fears. And this is a way that we will often use to feel a little more powerful, because in all of this energy, all of these energies, we start to feel a little powerless, like we can't control what's going on, and yet we have all these overwhelming feelings that we don't know what to do with. And so this can make us very angry at seeing what this group, this small group of people, are doing to the entire planet. And that can make us very, very angry. And that's the stage where most people get stuck, is in this angry stage, maybe afraid as well, but the anger they have more permission to have. And I just want to share some energetic statistics that I evaluated as I was preparing for this, because I was wondering, and I've measured this throughout the years, and it keeps changing. And that is, what percentage of people on the planet are like waking up, like they get the fact that there's something really wrong here. And while they may not know all the details, about 50% of the planet now is going, I think there's something off. There's something not right. And, the things are just not adding up. In the United States, that number is much higher. It's about 85%. However, if you've been listening to the mainstream media, which is very distorted, if not outright, it is outright lies about what's going on. But it's hard to discern that, because they mix it in with half-truths. And so then you think, well, this is true, then all this other stuff must be true too. But people are realizing that the news is run by 4 main corporations, which are all arms of the 1%. It's all, driving their agenda and their narrative. So 85% of people in the U.S. are like, yeah, this is something seriously wrong, and definitely, they're waking up to the reality of how they've been sort of they've been fooled, and this can be very upsetting. And this is where that cognitive dissonance happens, where they start to not be able to make sense of their old reality and the new things that are coming up. And this cognitive dissonance, though, it gets louder before you break through. However, the good news is that the majority of people are starting to wake up now. But if you've been watching the news, you won't know that, or you won't believe that, because that narrative is so loud with the lies, and it is going to get louder as their world starts to crumble, as this 1% oppressive energy starts to crumble. It is already crumbling. But the more that they lose their control, they know they're going down, it's a dying breed, that they will get louder. And so it's really up to us to make a choice. Once we get through all of these stages, we're going to be faced with a choice. So we can either choose to hold on to this thing that feels comfortable, that even if it's not working, even if it's scary, and if it's taking us out of that comfort zone, if it feels comfortable, we may hang on to that because we're too afraid to let go and do that free fall. And so that's one choice. We can hang on to what's comfortable, even though we know it's not working and it doesn't make us happy, and we're afraid and we're angry, but it's familiar, so we can keep doing that. Or we can move in a completely different direction, generally in the other direction, 180 degrees, where we're going to find our ultimate power. We're going to start to discover our brilliance and our radiance and all of our gifts, our infinite intelligence, all the stuff that this cult has been trying to push down, hold down. They don't want us to know how brilliant we are. They don't want us to come together and get solution oriented and create this new world that we're all moving into, where there will be more unity and harmony, and there won't be. It's like the bully is out on the playground and wreaking havoc, and finally the bully is going to be taken down, and they're losing their power. I just wanted to read a little quote that I created, and I wanted to read it exactly because I kind of said it before, but this is how it goes. It takes courage to free fall. The more you let go, the more room you make for freedom. So that's a writer-downer. And so that's what we all want, isn't it? No matter what side you're on, it's really not about sides. It's about alignment. It's about higher vibrations. And so, a lot of people think that I support Trump. I don't support Trump in and of himself. I really don't know much about him. I'm not political. I was born and raised without politics, so I really know very little about politics. But I am in favor of someone who has a high vibration. And if you have been on my... you obviously have been on my Facebook page, so you know what that banner looks like on my Facebook page, and the calibrations of both of those parties. And so, I used to be on the side that was very against President Trump, and because I believed the stuff that was going on out there, and all the things and making fun of him and so forth. But once I measured the numbers, and I know how accurate these are, that this was true. And this completely changed my viewpoint about what he represents, what he's trying to do, the direction that we're going. And I started to see everything in a completely different a very different viewpoint. So it's best for you to, so this is the final stage of this leaving the global cult. The final stage, well, is that choice. Well, I forgot a stage, sorry. Stage 4, before we get to that choice, is we need to step into some exploration and discovery. And so that's where you become confident in what you believe, because you've done research. You've done research on vaccinations. You've done research on how effective masks are. You've done research on the numbers of cases of actual deaths from COVID, and then you've compared that to other deaths in the same amount of time. Deaths from vehicle accidents, deaths from cancer, deaths from heart problems, deaths from legally prescribed drugs. So do your research so that you can feel confident when you make that final choice, when you make the choice. If you decide to hold on to what's comfortable, then so be it. But do it consciously. If that's where you decide to go and where you decide to be, make sure it's a conscious choice instead of just doing it because your family's doing it or everybody's around you is doing it or all your friends are doing it. You know, we really need to step into our power and make choices from a very confident, certain, grounded place. So that's what I wanted to share today. And I wanted to also do a MediClearing on that. Before I do that, and before I forget, I again wanted to thank everyone who's been participated in the book launch. And those of you who have purchased the book, we've created this really great tribe, this private group, where you can come and explore new upcoming discoveries that keep getting downloaded to me, as well as interacting with like-minded people. And you don't have to feel alone, because it can get pretty lonely out there when all your friends and family turn against you. So here's a great place where you can go and have like-minded people that share these beliefs, share your beliefs, and you can also, share questions, successes, everything. So it's all there, great place. So as long as you have purchased the book, either the ebook or the paperback, then you can be a part of the group. So if you have not sent in your receipt, you can email that to support@KimberlySherry.com. If you've already done that and somehow we missed you and you're not in the group yet, just private message me and I'll make sure you get added to the group. I'll give you the link so you can get added. I just want to make sure I said that. So I also want to see what you guys are saying here. So, yes, good morning, Crystal. Good to have you here. Elevating to the higher consciousness. That's exactly what we're doing. And I presume that you guys are really feeling this shift. And this reminds me of one other thing I wanted to share that was really important about this. And this will give you a little more compassion for those who are stuck on that other side. And they can't seem to budge, and the truth could be right in their face, but they cannot see it at all. And here is the reason. And it's really important that you remember this. The reason is they have massive amounts of fear and anger running through their energy field. So when you're seeing the world through that filter, that's all you're going to see. You're only going to see more things that make you angry and afraid. So that's why they're magnetized and attracted to this false narrative on the mainstream media and the news, and they keep looking for evidence to support their viewpoint because they don't know other options yet. They haven't made that discovery yet. They haven't gone through these different stages where they can get to that place of awakening. So be sure to have compassion for your friends and loved ones who are still very stuck. And, you know, all the more reason for us to get grounded, centered, focused, standing in our power and our brilliance so that we can help lead our friends and family and those who are interested in getting safely to the other side. We are going to make it. At least we're going to make it. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've been planted here at this time in human history with the gifts that I have, with my experience on this planet so far. It's completely prepared me for what I'm doing now. And so many of you are stepping into that same kind of genre with your gifts and your brilliance. And there are people waiting for you because you carry a specific frequency that only certain people can hear. Not everybody can hear what I have to say. Maybe they can hear you better. And so we're all sort of helping each other, lifting each other up. And then, we get up higher and then we reach back and we help other people, lifting other people up into these more elevated vibrations. And so that's how it works. We're all just helping each other. So let's go ahead and get grounded. We're going to run our energy here for just a few moments and see what this kind of stirred up for you. Now, if you're not familiar with this process, it is completely outlined in the book in great detail with illustrations so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. But even if you haven't gotten the book yet, you can still follow along and this will still benefit you. So let's go ahead and first use our free imagination to put down a line of energy, which we call a grounding cord, that goes from the base of your spine all the way to the center of the earth. And it's going to help you release all of that fear and anger that you're holding in your energy field. We want a nice big cord, maybe about this big, so that we can really release all of these energies. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to send roots down from the bottoms of our feet. And these roots, now this is next level grounding. They're going to go all the way down into the earth, deep, 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 way deep. In fact, all the way to the other side of the planet. It's going to come out the other side of the earth. It's going to wrap around the earth. And then from there, you're going to bring the abundant feminine earth energy up through your legs, clearing that adrenaline in your calves, clearing that power center in the upper part of your thighs. So we're just going to keep releasing that energy. And as we bring the energy up the legs, we're going to check and see if you have a worry circle. So ideally, you would not have a worry circle. That's the circle of energy that radiates out around your root chakra. And this is what holds all of your worry, stress, anxiety, doubts, fear, uncertainty. Right now, it's congested out to the third layer where it doesn't feel safe to step into your power. So we're going to pull in this circle, and we're just going to drop this energy down the grounding. Excellent. Okay, good. Oops. And then we're going to place our attention far above our heads. We're going to connect with pure source energy. And we're going to start bringing this energy down into our crown. This is where we give ourselves our personal permission. And it's going to pass through several rings, could be anywhere between 3 and 50 rings that are stacked above your head. They're about this big. And this is what holds your dreams and your desires, your goals for the future, and what you desire to create in your life. So we're going to bring Pure Source down through these rings so that they are calibrated in your highest and best interests. So So it comes down through the rings into your crown. So it's stopping right there. We're going to go out to the third layer. So just imagine that you know where the third layer of your aura is. There's also a circle of energy up here, just like at your root. So we call this the permission circle, because this is where you give yourself permission. So right now it's congested out to the third layer. So we're going to pull in the permission circle. And we're just going to drop all of that inability to give ourselves permission. We're just going to drop that right down the grounding cord through that central core. Excellent. So let's see what else is getting stirred up here around this idea of leaving this global cult. So maybe some of you are already out, but this will help you to understand how other people are operating and why they're so afraid. So we're going to bring this pure source energy down through the sixth chakra and the throat and the heart. So right at the heart, the congestion goes out to the third layer. So just imagine you know where the third layer of your aura is, both out in front and behind. And we're just going to pull that energy in, and we're going to drop all those judgments, all the ways you make yourself wrong about thinking maybe you should be further along than you are, or some other judgment, not doing things right, or not doing enough. So as we're bringing this energy down through the heart and the solar plexus, stopping right there. That's a third chakra, third layer. That's like a big stop sign that makes you feel stuck and afraid and paralyzed. That's that fear, all that fear energy. So we're just going to pull all of this fear into the core of your core of your solar plexus, excuse me. We're just going to drop that down the grounding. Okay, great. So as we're bringing pure source down through the solar plexus into that second chakra, where it's stopping again, we're going to go out to the third layer. So this is where there's a lot of anger and rage in your energy field. So this is not to make anger wrong. Anger is a very useful energy when it's used to move us to take action. Usually we get angry when there's some kind of injustice. And so if it's moving us to action, that's great. But if we've been just holding on to anger as a way of motivating ourselves, getting things done, that's not a sustainable use of our energy, and it's not our true power. It's a big energy, but it's exhausting. When you're trying to use anger as your way of motivating yourself, getting things done, not a fun way to operate. So here in the second chakra, we're going to go all the way out to the 15th layer of the aura, both front and back. So the 15th layer, that's where the 1% live in our energy field. And this is where they want you to create for them. So right at that second chakra, they want you to create for them. So we're going to pull all of their energy into the core of the second chakra. It pulls into the second layer where it's stopping. So there's more anger and rage right there. So that's what the 1% operate with. This is what they feed on for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dessert. And so they need you guys to be angry, because this is how they fuel themselves. They're cut off from pure source energy. So they rely on this darker energy to fuel themselves. So let's just drop all that anger down the grounding, but we're going to lift this energy up through the central core. Anything that relates to the 1% needs to get sent off planet. Okay, great. So as we're going back to bringing pure source down through that second chakra and spilling down the root, we're going to mix the earth energy that's coming up through the legs and pure source coming down the backside. Where those meet right at the root chakra, we're going to mix that together, going to bring it up the front. And so as it's trying to leave the root, it's getting stuck on some fear. So Maybe some of you lost your grounding cord. We're just going to put that back down so we can release all the fear in your space. Okay, great. So now we're going to go back to bringing that 50-50 mixture up the front, real close to the spine. 1, 2, 3. So it gets up to that solar plexus, out to that third layer where there's all that effort, pushing, chasing, forcing, trying to make things happen. And all that hard, being the free-range slave that the 1% wants you to believe that you are, but that you're not. We are sovereign beings, but we don't realize it because we're stuck in the program. Okay, good. So as we come up through this solar plexus into the heart, where it's stopping, we're going to go all the way up to the 15th layer. We're going to pull that 1% out of our heart. See, they don't want us to be in our hearts. That's the antithesis, or the antithesis, or the opposite. It's like kryptonite for them. Okay, good. So we're just going to pull all of those judgments out of the heart. As we pull this energy up through the heart, throat, 6th chakra, I'm going to go out to the 3rd layer. These are the beliefs that hold all of this in place. So let's drop those beliefs down the grounding. As we lift all of these energies out through your crown and your rings, and then we're going to let it cascade down through all the layers of your aura, especially the 3rd layer, and especially at the solar plexus. So that's more of that effort where everything just feels hard. There's always an energetic reason for any time you ever feel off. There's something in your energy field. Then we're going to jump out to the 25th layer where the fear entities live and hang out in your energy field. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to lift all these fears out of this layer of your aura, the 25th layer. Great. We're just going to send all of these fears off planet. Okay, great. The rest of the aura is clear. Finally, let's clear the circle of reciprocity. So your upper 4 chakras, heart, throat, 6, crown, and all of your rings, all of that energy is going to come out your right arm. So your right arm. I'm doing this it's like a mirror. Okay, so I'm clearing it. So it gets stuck right about here at the right arm. And so it's like you start to give, but then you just feel stuck or paralyzed or whatever. And so we're going to just gently pull this energy out that right arm so that you can give of yourself, your energies, your resources, your time, whatever it is that you have to give, so that you can start this circle of reciprocity, which starts with giving. So you give before you receive. And then we're going to pull that energy up the left arm. That's your left receiving side. Up the left arm, through the shoulder, down through the front and back of the heart, throat, 6, crown, rings, all the rings, great. So maybe now you can breathe a little easier. Just notice, maybe you could put these in the comments, whether or not you feel any calmer. Do you feel any different? Maybe feel a little lighter. Those are the most common responses I get from people that start to shift their energy as a result of doing this very simple process. Simple but powerful. So maybe you're feeling a little more hopeful about the future and not so paralyzed, that you can maybe start to get some things done now. So if you're just showing up, I suggest you go to the beginning and listen to the whole process of what we've created here. And as you go out into the weekend, if you haven't gotten the book yet, it would be a great opportunity to do that, be a part of this tribe, this growing tribe that is really where we're all headed in the same direction, and we can really provide a lot of support for each other. So I hope you enjoy the weekend. It's starting to get a lot colder in California, that's for sure, but the skies were beautiful, minus a few chemtrails, but we're counting our blessings, right? Okay, great. If you have any questions, support@KimberlySherry.com. Go off and enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday, where I will be entertaining your questions, things you want me to look at, things maybe you need a little help clearing. I'll do a brief energy clearing on you, something specific for you and your issues. All right. Sending much love, friends. Namaste. Have a great weekend.